Blessings everyone, how's it going? It's time for a very special solar eclipse video, and we're talking about this solar eclipse that's coming up on the 10th of June 2021 and what effect that is going to be having on everybody, what is becoming available, and what the biggest themes that we're all going to be going through together are, and how that is going to be shaping up your summer if you're in the northern hemisphere, or your winter if you're in the southern hemisphere. So we're definitely doing a big focus on the June, July, and August months. This solar eclipse, however, is setting trends that are lasting well into November, but in particular, I feel like we should just focus on, of course, pulling things into the now. So we're going to be doing this in the same all-in-one astrology style. So if you are not used to that style or you are new to my video, remember to open the link in the down bar below, and I'll also pin a comment at the top of the comment bar with all areas of life that are getting affected for each sign. If you want to look at a particular sign and see, okay, this is where the biggest shifts are occurring or where they are coming from, and of course expanding into the rest of my life where I want to be paying attention, doing the work, doing the inner work, and how that's going to be showing up for me. I've also got, of course, some tarot cards here sitting down before me here. We're going to be talking about what is happening in terms of, our big spiritual themes of what's going through this next few months, how it's affecting our work, our livelihood, our personal abundance, how things are being affected on the social sphere, in particular when it comes to news, community, trends, friends and family, any challenges that we want to pay attention to, right? New dynamics coming in that we want to make adjustments for, and of course how things are happening in our closest personal relationships and romance. This particular eclipse is actually amplifying some themes that we are also experiencing due to the transits of Jupiter and Saturn. So we are also going to be talking about years that are coming up for revelation, in particular the last 30 years. And so when you want to think about, all the way back to 1991, this is where a lot of stories are not necessarily getting rewritten, but they are getting redirected. Some years are going through a revelation period to be reclaimed and to be redeemed, where we can actually have the highest potential to be on the highest trajectory, to get the highest outcomes, to claim the highest outcomes of big events of those years, that were going on in our lives, anything that maybe we missed or it did, it's still in our field. We still want to actually play with it. We want to create it. And we are also seeing years come up for revelation to be released, to be deleted from our experience. If you're still carrying anything from those years, if you are still dealing with maybe the consequences, the ripple effects, the trends that were set in those years in your life, some of those years are getting deleted and undone and, of course, revealed for what was going on and what was happening there. And if you hear a cat snoring, that is Persephone. She's got her bed over in the window there. And we're not going to move the camera because it's kind of cluttered over there. I'm actually doing a bit of rearranging of the house, just doing a bit of redecorating. So, I can also step into this shift as well, change your surroundings, change your inside, then change the outside. So this solar eclipse in Gemini is about new beginnings. All solar eclipses occur with a new moon, right? The sun and the moon conjunct. And so we are actually seeing a lot of new stories, a lot of new paths, a lot of new adventures open up for everybody. However, it's got a unique twist to it in the sense that it's also conjunct Mercury retrograde. And so what's happening with Mercury retrograde is there's this focus on review and reclamation and rewriting. A lot of people might get tripped up by the Mercury retrograde idea in this, and you want to be careful, right? Do not let the basic, the very basic Mercury retrograde stereotype make you think that this has to be something that doesn't work or is, something that is going to create negativity in your life. Do not put energy there. Do not amplify what you don't want. Mercury retrograde is all about revelation, review, reclaim, restart, retry, revisit. And so we're going to see a great deal of this flow from the Gemini portion of your chart. And over the course of June in particular, but also July and August, we're actually migrating a lot of our reality, a lot of our experience to actually get with the highest potential, the highest path, the highest outcomes from these things that we are reviewing, we are reclaiming and revisiting. And to assist with that, we've also got this square to Neptune, currently in Pisces. So a square is all about making things all work at the same time, making a transition that actually serves the highest interest of all concerned, even if there is a lot of pressure. A lot of basic astrology says that a square must be seen as negative because it may present work, it may present a challenge, it may present a need for effort. Now, of course, we do not want to project that into this as well, so we let that go. And so with a square to Neptune, what is going on throughout the course of this month and essentially, again, the rest of the summer or rest of the winter, depending on where you are in the world, is that we are having a lot of background stories get revealed. Not only revelations of where we could have been or where something was going when it was on its highest trajectory, its highest path, whether it was maybe a career path, something you were trying to create, a project, somewhere that you had actually oriented your own growth, your own movement, something that you were trying to bring in for yourself. But we're also seeing maybe what was interfering with that, right? We're also seeing the true nature of what happened instead. Because Neptune, of course, yes, is the planet of revelations and fantasy at the same time, of truth and illusion at the same time. So with all of this review going on, there may be some things that come up, especially in the first 60 days. The closer you get to the eclipse, of course, so really looking at the highest point between Thursday the 10th of June and about the 25th of June, a lot of things are getting revealed that are showing you exactly why something ended up the way it did, what the other side of the story was, and how we can actually flip the script, so to speak, to get rid of that old script, to get rid of the story, to get rid of what happened. Hence, undo and release the past and reclaim the highest path and highest trajectory. So the years that are coming up for reclamation and redemption through revelation are years that actually are going through a Jupiter return and a Saturn return. So we're looking at 2009, 2010, right? Maybe you want to look back and see what was going on in my life in 2009, 2010. Focus on the stuff that was actually lifting you up, right? These are the years, 2009, 2010, 1998, 1999, 1993, where you were getting an opportunity, or maybe you never got to have that opportunity. Maybe something already happened, right? Because we're also undoing a lot of distortion that occurred in 92. So it may be that you're getting to see a 1993 or a 1998 or a 2009 you didn't even know you could have had. But focus on things that are coming back that actually are meant to be. Now, it may not be, of course, the same exact one-to-one reflection, right? The same people, the same project, the same career path, the same creation. But you are actually getting back into alignment with that to reclaim it, right? We do not be afraid of something that's coming in for us. It may make us have to face things that we did not know left a mark so that we can claim them. But when we think about what was going on in these years, right? Especially 2009 and 10, especially 1998 and 1999. What was going on? We have years coming up to be released at this time. So we talk about years getting released through revelation. These are years where perhaps interference or some kind of, let's just say, disharmonious trend ended up actually throwing off a course or throwing off a trajectory. And we see 2015, 2006 and 7, and 2003. So when we think about events, right, whether it's seeds that were getting planted, trends that were getting picked up, we think about things that ultimately were put in motion. And yes, we're going to see this on the macrocosm as well as the microcosm. What needs to go through a correction? Now, this is not about revelation for redemption of these years. This is about revelation and release. Now, I don't want anyone to think that this necessarily creates a negative experience. This could actually be incredibly liberating for everybody because you may find out you didn't know how good it could be because you thought it was the best you could do. And so what was going on in your life in 2015? What was going on in 2006 and 7? What was going on in 2003? And how are these years of your life affecting you? What registered on your consciousness, on your beliefs, on your expression of self back then that actually need to be released right now? This is how you make the most of this, because when you think about 2009 and 10, 98, 99, as well as 93, things that either were meant for you, were already in your field, things that actually serve you, that either A, you never had the chance to try, never had the chance to start, never had the chance to see through or finish the proper way. Really, you're going to be busy reclaiming that. You're going to be really, focus on your energy there of what you get to actually do again. Do the inner work. This is going to require some introspection on your part. This is going to require you to be able to recall, to reveal 2015, 2006, 2007, 2003, what seeds were planted, what may be scarring or negative events, detractions, derailments, again, trends, even fads, things that may have been going on, again, in your professional field, things that could have been going on in your family, your relationships, your social life, yes, the world at large, things that were getting planted back then, getting revealed for what they are and released, dissolved, and neutralized in such a way that they not only no longer have an effect, but they no longer keep you from migrating to that highest timeline, to that highest story, getting back into proper alignment and connection with your own highest path and your highest outcomes, your highest potential. So let's talk about what is going on when it comes to the cards. Well, the big spiritual theme makes perfect sense when it comes to especially this next 3 months, starting now, but really amping up the 10th of June, and that is the 9 of Wands in reverse. So there is this freedom from containment going on as a lot of doors are opening up, a lot of defenses, a lot of armor, a lot of walls, and a lot of veils coming down. When we talk about the 9 of Wands reversed, this is taking away things that have contained. Now, whether it's contained your movement, contained your ability to actually make a shift in your own life, maybe it's something that you've been tied down to, something that you've been stuck with, or perhaps something that you feel like you've been made to live with that you no longer have to live with. The 9 of Wands reverse is also indicating things that have been blocked from sight, blocked from availability, whether it's from the external, from interference, or maybe something that you've been blocking from yourself, or something that you have not allowed yourself to look at, even though it could be good for you, absolutely showing up and being revealed for what it is, to be either redeemed and reclaimed or released and therefore free yourself from. When it comes to the material world, when it comes to, finances to a certain degree, but let's talk about resources in general, because I feel like this does also go beyond, doesn't exclude, but it goes beyond the concept of money as a commodity. And now we're talking about life's work, right? Your professional path, what you feel and what you know is to be your function, where you are happiest. We talk about, yes, your status, your performance, and of course your profit, however you define profit. Well, we've got the world upright. Everyone is getting a chance to go through a major graduation, a major level up with the world upright. And everyone is getting a chance to be seen and shown for not only who they truly are, what they bring to the table with their service, but we're also finding that if you have actually found it hard for you to find your place in your life's work, right? Whether it's hard to find the right people, it's hard to maybe find the right clients or customers, hard to find the right outlet, or maybe you are not getting noticed, or you feel like you are doing the right work, but you can't seem to be finding yourself the right environment, the right role. This is the time where all of that is getting rearranged. And you're going to find that the universe is offering you all kinds of different outlets. Now, it's important to pay attention with the World card upright. This does force you and me to consider, doesn't force us to do anything, but it forces us to consider a transition that takes us out of a comfort zone, take us out of the sandbox we've outgrown, take us out of things that ultimately may have been a comfort or a coping mechanism that maybe has been stuck on repeat for far too long. Also pay attention to things where, you might not necessarily know you can still do, that you are getting a chance to finally have go the way it's supposed to. All right. So really, really cool energy here. As we get onto the news, the trends, the social interactions, right? We talk about not just what's going on in the macrocosm, right? Do not get distracted by looking at the external. Focus on your world as well. Friends, family, community. We do have the Nine of Pentacles reversed. And so this period is going to take a lot of really hard whacks at situations that are not only unhealthy arrangements, but arrangements that may actually be rooted in unhealthy entanglements, especially when it comes to, let's just say, overtly or covertly or knowing or conscious or unconscious codependency that may be going on, and you might notice that what codependent relationships are going on in your life, whether you're conscious of it or not. It's coming up to be revealed, to either be redeemed or released. You might be noticing this as well, yes, in the social sphere, because is it holding them down? Are they actually not going through their own growth? Are they not actually making any progress themselves? Are they just getting, handouts, easy answers, one day, 1 week, 1 month at a time? Are we losing so much to these interactions, to these engagements, to these agreements, that we are not making progress ourselves? We can't invest in other things. This is where the Nine of Pentacles reversed is offering the opportunity to have that be revealed so it can be redirected. Ace of Wands reversed is our challenge here. Okay, so this next few months, also pay attention. With the Ace of Wands reversed, we're needing to see what needs to go that ultimately is pulling on our available energy for our own highest path, right? The Ace of Wands reversed. The fire is sputtering out. What is taking the fuel? And the biggest challenge is to pay attention to that which ultimately is keeping us from being able to actually achieve this next stage of our life fully. This is something that I was talking about in the Patreon bonus weekly astrology this last week. And, you know, sometimes it's important to pay attention to what you think is really paying off versus what is never going to pay off and versus what is going to pay off. And in the video itself, I talked about my time working as a waiter and a bartender. I was talking about how sometimes we can think that the most unpleasant engagements can somehow bring us profit. You know, we are constantly investing in things, you know, because if there's any kind of programming in there, any kind of distortion in there, we might think it's something that is eventually going to pay off. You know, it's eventually we're going to win something over, we're going to flip it. That might not always be the case. As a waiter and a bartender, it was very clear how that was illustrated. The easiest people to work with, whether they were fellow waiters and bartenders, customers, even managers, kitchen staff, things like that, when it comes to the biggest payoff, whether it was the people that were helping you or the people that you could help and, you know, and get something bigger out of it, people who would go and, you know, share your good name, help build you up, put in a good word for you, you know, whether it was a customer actually letting a boss know you were doing a good job, or yeah, maybe a tip or something like that. Interestingly enough, the entire experience was usually pleasant all the way through, start to finish, right? And the least reward would come from those that were creating the hardest experience. So in a weird way, you would end up getting the most out of the interactions and the relationships with those that were, you know, well-behaved, being considerate, working with you, speaking up, articulating their needs, right? Because sometimes things don't necessarily go well. A drink is made wrong or, you know, food's a little late. And so, yeah, you know, you've got to be able to communicate and you've got to be able to fix it. Those that were cooperating in the process, that made it easier, right? Helping you help them or helping make the best experience possible had the best rewards. And those that did not participate in the experience, right? Whether it was just bad manners, people being, you know, badly behaved, or inconsiderate of other customers around them, you know, not necessarily giving a damn about the effect they were having on other people, not communicating with you, making life hard, maybe, you know, coming in with whatever distortion they were carrying, never had a payoff anyway. Right? It would always be like a lot of extra work to try and win something over that didn't work. You know, now with the Ace of Wands reversed and the Nine of Wands reversed, it's very possible that we have to take a look at things that we wish weren't so. Whether it's we find out that something we have revealed is ultimately saying, okay, no, it's not going to go the way we think. Or maybe it's that waiter example where it's like we're trying, where God help us, we're trying to get something to shift gears or somebody to see what we're putting out there, or we are working against the grain, we're swimming in the wrong stream. We have to pay attention with this Ace of Wands reversed where we need to not be in denial about that, if we are in denial about that, or where we are actually doing the right thing, but we're not following through because we're afraid of making waves or it's the only thing we've known. But if it's taking our fuel, if it's taking our fire, if it's removing our ability to be the most productive and the most prosperous, it does need to be seen for what it really is. When it comes to love and romance, we've got the Magician reversed as far as this, this next few months goes. And I want people to understand that this time, because it is so focused on revelation, everyone and their partners, so you're going to be noticing this in your partners or even new people, are going to be stepping into territory together that we may not have actually learned how to navigate effectively. With the Magician card reversed, again juxtaposed to that Nine of Wands reversed, with that armor coming down, the walls coming down, we're paying attention to lessons unlearned And if you want to learn about spiritual lessons, again, you can check out my Navigating Spiritual Lessons video I just put up. You can check it out on my main channel page. I'll put links into all the videos I'm mentioning here in the down bar below. But we're learning things that ultimately we have gone through life not learning about relationships, about how these connections and how good these connections can be, how healthy these connections can be. Because I'm looking at this Magician card reversed, and it's essentially taking away a lot of the opportunity to overcompensate for that lack so that we can actually take on and integrate something that will override and clear that lack in the first place. You don't have to overcompensate for something you lack if you do not lack. Even for those of you looking for new love and relationships, it may be that you and a new person may be going through this process together at the same time. There is a very strong learning experience energy going on here as well. And with the Magician reversed, yes, even as couples, we may be facing things as a marriage or as a family that we have to now go back and look, where are some gaps in our social and human development? Was it something that, we just never were exposed to in earlier years or earlier chapters in our life? Is it something we never integrated? Was it something that we missed on one of those years where we're reclaiming, we're redeeming? Are we removing false teachings, things that maybe were impressions handed down to us? What did dad get wrong? What did mom get wrong? What was going on in the value system projection there? The Magician reversed is really showing where maybe a lot of tools we think we gathered, both us and our partner, and again, maybe even things we think we're doing as a unit or a cultural unit, are just not applicable to the best possible experience we could have together. It's a very experimental time as well. I do see a lot of people getting experimental with their relationships to go into uncharted territory together and to also finally face those gaps that we may have actually spent a lot of time ignoring, or maybe having them finally get revealed to us, and actually have everyone in these relationships express their true organic selves and have a relationship that is absolutely a cut above any of that expectation, projection, or contrivance that may have been making things more complicated than it was supposed to be. And it all comes back to that focus of we are going through our big revelation of the true self, the true path, and the true potential in all things, including the true path of what this relationship truly is, what the path of this relationship truly is, the true potential of our relationship really is, and the revelation of illusion, distortion, and interference so that it can be cleared. So when it comes to everything that's going on this next few months, but again, starting now and amplifying from the 10th onward, what is coming up to be revealed, reclaimed, and redeemed? What is coming up to be revealed, reduced, or released? It's going to be a huge focus this summer or winter in the Southern Hemisphere. So that is what I've got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And sure, of course, if you ever want to get a session with me, all you need to do is go to my website, integrativemysticism.com, or you can follow the links in the down bar below. Don't forget I do bonus astrology and tarot readings on my Patreon, and the link is in the down bar below as well. Y'all have a good one and enjoy this eclipse. Take care.